Welcome to Art Ed Radio, the podcast for art teachers. This show is produced by the Art of Education, and we're so glad you joined us for today's episode, and we hope it was helpful for you. If you know someone else who might be helped with the information in this show, we would love for you to share it with them. We also appreciate all the ratings and reviews that listeners leave for us, so if you have a few seconds to give us a 5-star rating or even leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen, we would love to see it. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next week. As always, for every Mailbag episode, Amanda Hine is with me now. Amanda, how are you?
I am great, Tim. How are you?
Also doing great, as always. Excited to answer questions. Great batch of questions today.
Really good.
So really looking forward to that. So thank you to everybody who sent those in, and we're looking forward to answering all of those. Before we do that, we need to do some introductions. Amanda, would you like to go first this month?
Sure. My name is Amanda Hine. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at the Art of Education. So I lead the team that creates all the media content and the Art of Ed community and the Art Ed Now conference, which is coming up. And I'm very happy to be here. I was an elementary art teacher before I worked at AOE.
Awesome. Thank you. My name is Tim Bogantz. For all of you new listeners, this is my podcast, and we've been doing it for a very long time. We do these mailbags once a month, Amanda and I do. I was an elementary art teacher for a short amount of time. I was a high school art teacher for a long time, and I now put together this Art Ed Radio podcast every week. And as Amanda mentioned, the Art Ed Now conference is kind of my baby, twice per year, coming up just a few weeks from now. So we could not be more excited. I'll talk about that more in just a little bit. But Amanda, I know you have some housekeeping stuff that you want to talk about before we dive in.
I do. There's so much fun stuff happening in the community. If you don't already know, if you're not already there, there's almost 10,000 people there. So really, if you're not there, you're late, but we still want you to come. Right. You can go to community.theartofeducation.edu to join. Everything in the community is free to do. We have so many things. Okay, on Thursday, July 9th, so in a few days at 6 p.m. Central, we have Art Club, which is where we learn a new skill and make a little bit of art with a special guest. We have Sarah Krajewski, better known as Art Room Glitter Fairy, on Instagram, and she's going to be coming and talking about discovering your artistic style. I'm so excited about this because Sarah has a distinct style. It's very cool. She's doing a mural this summer, and it's just the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's great. She was just on the podcast last week, and it's lovely to talk to her all the time. She has such great advice for people, and it was really, really enjoyable talking to her. So if you need more from Sarah, please go to Art Club. It will be a great experience.
It will. Just elite vibes. Like you hang out with Sarah and you feel great. I can't explain it. Okay. Then also our other big event in the community is Pop-Up Studio, which is Wednesday, July 22nd at 6 Central. The theme there is Tiny But Mighty. And we have Katie Nasser, who is an AOEU adjunct faculty, an art teacher. We're also putting out a special welcome, a special invitation, I guess I would say, to our studio course students. So AOEU studio course students, if you have some work that you're working on, you have some homework, come hang out and meet other students. I think it's going to be fun. Then every Monday in the community at, I think it's 12 Central noon, we have Mini Masterpiece Maker Mondays. Say that 5 times.
That is great.
I feel proud of myself, actually. That was good. Yes, because we like alliteration. And every Monday, yes, at noon Central Time, confirmed, in July, we are going to host 30 minutes live streaming of art making time. So again, if you need an accountability partner, if you are participating in AOE's mini masterpieces on Instagram, our daily prompt challenge that we run all the time, that would be a great time to work on your Monday submission for that. So come hang out. We would love to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will put out a call for all of the people who love art making as well. Come to the conference. We have so many cool things. We have the kickoff Friday night, which will be July 31st. We have a couple hours of art making there. We have multiple art making sessions throughout the main event on Saturday, August 1st, and then even more art making opportunities with drawing and needle felting, just all sorts of cool things in the afterpass as well. And so there are a lot of ways to access different art making opportunities there. So please come and join us if you want to do some art making. And of course, I also need to remind everybody that Oliver Jeffers is coming.
Yes.
So if you have ever read The Day the Crayons Quit, Oliver Jeffers is the one who illustrated that. He's also written and illustrated a ton more books and has created so many great pieces of art beyond the world of children's literature. And I had an absolutely wonderful time talking to him, interviewing him for this presentation. And I think it's going to be a wonderful presentation. We would love for you to come see him, along with all the other amazing presentations that are going to be happening. So if I can put one last plug in, just go to theartofeducation.edu/now. You can find everything you need for the conference. You can register if you're not registered yet to get all the information you need about everything that's happening. All right, Amanda, do you have any stories that need to be shared before we start answering questions?
Yes. I have 3 short stories if you'll come on a journey of a short story collection with me. The first short story is the garden news has been dire coming from my house thus
It has.
far.
It has not been a good spring, but
No, but let me tell you, we are turning it around. We have
okay.
fully ripped out the rose bush that the poison ivy had grafted onto, and now
Okay.
we don't have any poison ivy in our yard, and it
I love
is
it.
so nice. Shout out to Toby Hine for doing that. That's my husband. And also, my vegetable garden is thriving. Like
Excellent.
it's been very rainy here, which I actually kind of like.
Okay.
It's been, I don't know, mixed feelings,
I
but
would rather have rain than like really, really hot and humid.
yeah, and the evenings have been cool. And anyway, it's been great. And the herb garden is really doing well. And I'm really picking herbs every day to eat, which is really enhancing my quality of life.
Excellent.
Okay, story number 2 is I saw the perfect license plate today.
Oh,
So it was a tiny orange Fiat and it was painted orange. It was a custom color. And the license plate was CHESCRD. Cheese curd. And I was driving with the kids on the way to Trader Joe's on a morning grocery run, and I said, "Look," I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the perfect Wisconsin car."
I love it. I did not pick up on that right away. I was trying to figure out what that smelled like.
I saw your face. I helped you out, and along with anyone else in the audience. Cheese curd.
That is the perfect Wisconsin license plate.
Maybe
I
you have
feel
to be
like
from Wisconsin to
would
get it
I
right
would
away.
I have figured it out quickly if I lived in Madison?
1,000%.
Yeah.
And it was orange. Anyway, it was great. Okay, and my last story is we are getting really into scopes over here. So I was driving on the highway, not on the highway, on a side road a few months ago and saw a telescope. Have I told you this story?
I have not heard about
Okay.
any of your scope adventures.
Okay, so there was this giant telescope just sitting. It was kind of like partially country road. And I thought surely someone just left this out. This cannot be for free. But I also knew if it was for free, I wanted it very badly. And so I just knocked on the door. I just knocked on this lady's door and I said, "Hey, this is near the road. Is this for free?" And she was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "I told Dan, we just need to get this stuff out of the garage. We've had this telescope for 6 years. No one's ever used it." And I was like, "Okay, so I can have it?" She was like, "Yes, please have it." So we finally dragged it out, got it all calibrated, and the moon we had a telescope, but it was a very low end telescope. This is like a telescope. It's 4 feet long. It's 12 inches in diameter. It's amazing. So that's one end of the spectrum is we're looking out into outer space regularly.
Yes.
But also this same week, my 12-year-old, I don't know, was watching a YouTube video about how to find tardigrades, which are tiny microscopic organisms. If you're unfamiliar, go look them up. They're also called water bears. And we all really wanted to see a tardigrade in real life because this would be very exciting. So he looked up a video of he was outside scraping moss off the tree. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm going to see a tardigrade." And long story short, we have a microscope on the other end of the spectrum. We have a high-powered microscope. Actually, we have multiple microscopes, but this one, and he found a tardigrade, and we all saw a
That's amazing.
tardigrade and like other tiny organisms. Anyway, it was just really fun to see them pursue their passions and then share them with you, and then you get to see cool stuff like the moon and tardigrades. It's been a
I
great
love
time
it.
over here.
I love it. Like the science nerd, like portion of the demographic that listens is all just thrilled about all of this.
Yeah,
So
I don't know how much
yeah,
crossover there is, but fun fact about me, if I didn't teach art, I would have taught science.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. No, I know we have listeners out there who love this stuff.
yes,
I never thought that garden talk would be popular,
you're
but people
right.
love it. So maybe we need science talk too. So we'll see. So
We'll see
um,
what's going on in your life.
not nearly as much. Definitely not anything science related, but just two things that were kind of enjoyable or made me laugh recently. And just last night, went with my son to Chipotle. We had to go get some burritos, and my God, like this is really just a story about how much my kid eats because we went through Chipotle. He got extra rice, he got extra chicken. His burrito is just gigantic.
Mhm.
Asked if we could get chips and guac. I'm like, yes, we can get chips and guac. I love that. So we got that, and he just devours all of it. And I just had my normal size burrito. It was
Right.
great.
Which is
Uh,
still big, to be clear.
Still, oh, absolutely. And we go home, and he literally heads to the refrigerator and makes himself another dinner. I was like, buddy, it took us 7 minutes to drive home and you're hungry again. He's like, oh, I didn't really get full. Your burrito had to be 2,000 calories. I don't know how.
This is
It's,
the worst phrase that happens every day at my house for every meal. I have 2 boys, 13 and 10, about approximately, almost.
yeah,
And they say they eat their whole dinner and then extras, and then they say, "What else can I have?"
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what else you can have. A string
No,
cheese?
yeah,
It's not my problem.
thankfully,
I've provided one dinner.
that should be plenty. Thankfully, my kid knows how to cook, so he can
Yeah,
take care of that himself. And there's always bread and peanut butter in
exactly.
the pantry, so go for it. No, and then I was also gonna say I stopped into my friend's third grade summer school class and taught an art lesson, and that was
Cute.
just brought me so much joy. It's been so long since I've worked with elementary kids, and we
Mhm.
had a wonderful time. We did neurographic art,
Love it.
just some lines, some colors, chill vibes. It was a great time. We had so much fun. And I don't need to teach 3 weeks of summer school by any means,
Yeah,
but man, for about an hour and a half, it was
yeah.
really enjoyable. So I like that. And like I said, it was just fun to hang with little kids. I don't do that often enough. So
Yeah,
it
that
was
is
a fun
very
time.
fun.
Cool. All right. I think we are ready to get into these amazing questions. So Amanda, can you do the honors and start us off?
Yes, let's go ahead and open up the mailbag.
Our first question is from Jordan in Colorado. Jordan says, hey, Tim, I love the interview with Austin Kleon. He talked about time and space and materials as the formula to create. I want to buy some new supplies that would get me excited about creating again. Do you and Amanda have any recommendations for materials you've used or you've seen that are really fun to work with and would help spark some inspiration?
Sorry, is this person asking me to go pretend shopping with someone else's money?
Please
Yes,
do. Yes.
I would love that. Okay, can I start?
Please do. I
Okay,
knew this question was right up your alley,
it
so
really is.
please go ahead.
I will say, I do have specific material suggestions, but one other suggestion I would give is to encourage you to find a few local art stores and just go wander around because sometimes you can discover very delightful things if you don't
You
even know what you're looking for.
you don't need a shopping list. We go explore.
We go explore. Now, you
I
could
like
go
it.
to a Michael's, you could go to another large craft store, but I'm talking about a niche, locally owned store. Okay. So
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
found a new art store where I live. And the last time I was there, I picked up 3 neon watercolor pencils and
Okay.
some silver holographic embroidery floss. Do
Okay.
I know what I'm doing with these? No. But do I love them? Yes. Did they bring me so much joy? Yes, they did. Also, benefit of a local craft store, my 12-year-old came with and almost 13-year-old and saw some cardboard tubes in the back room. And this is a cardboard kid. He's the one who made the full suit of armor out of cardboard, etc. And he was just like, "Mom, do you think they would give those to me?" And I'm very much hands off. Like if you want to ask, that's up to you, right? And I
Yeah.
said, like, if you want to ask when we check out. And so he did. And he walked out with, I don't know, 6 or 7 giant 10-foot cardboard tubes and was the happiest kid alive.
I love
So
it. I love it.
yeah.
And like honestly, I love just random cardboard tubes or
Yeah.
whatever. Like they're probably pretty happy to give those to you, but
Mhm.
anything that you have, just supplies that come to you, a lot of times that can spark a lot of creativity, a lot of inspiration. As I I guess my whole life I've been like this, but sometimes I will freeze up if things are like too nice or I bought things for a specific purpose and I'm like, oh, I can't use them for this, or what if I waste these because this doesn't turn out too good? And
Yeah.
I really I need to get past that. But honestly, just try to create without caring if you waste something. And so if you can
Mhm.
get random materials or just buying new materials without a purpose, I think that's great advice. But
Mhm.
you also said you had specific suggestions. So what are those?
I do. Okay, so one of my specific suggestions I hinted at already, which is just metallic or neon or specialty versions of things you already really like to work with. Do you like
Yeah.
pastels? Go buy 3 pastels that cost $5 each. Okay, now are we getting a whole set of these? No, but a special one. To your point, Tim, are you going to ruin something? I don't know, maybe, but it also makes me more motivated to create if I have those
Yeah.
special supplies on
Yeah.
hand. I also think jelly plate printing matches this question pretty well. There's a lot of things you can do with it. It's very experimental. You can use acrylic paint, which is easy to have on hand. You can use found
Hmm.
objects. You can use botanicals. Speaking of garden talk callback, go out and get some leaves. Just so many different techniques that you can play with that one set of materials is really fun to me. I also really love a tempera paint stick, and I know they are built for
Yep.
elementary or young kids, but they are so glidey.
Absolutely.
They're
I love
so
them.
delightful.
Like if I just need to lay down a base layer of something in my
Yeah.
sketchbook, like let's do it. Give me a temper stick. So
Yeah.
fast, so easy, dries so quick. Love them.
And sometimes they're even water soluble, so you can work into them like paint. Anyway, they're
Hmm.
great. Um, Also cool markers is on my list. So Uli is one company, although there are others, that just has really interesting markers. There are markers that have the like lay down metallic, but they have a dark, vibrant outline of color, but it's all one marker. There are
Yeah,
color changing markers where you can layer them on top of each other. And instead of color mixing, like one will cancel out the other ones. You can do some really interesting layering
interesting.
things.
Yeah.
Very cool. I had some of these in the 90s. I don't know if there are any other 90s dolphin girls listening who know what I'm talking about, but these did exist. And then I feel like they went away and Uli brought them back.
Okay.
They've been delightful. I, of course, bought them. They have paint markers, etc. And then I would say maybe go fabric dyeing. I thought batik, tie dye, something very process
Yeah.
based where you're experimenting and there's multi steps. So those are
Yeah.
my ideas.
No, I like all of those ideas. I just thought about shibori dyeing too when
Yes.
you just mentioned that. But my list and I guess my ideas feel very similar to what you suggested. You said jelly plate printing. I thought collage would be great just because
Mhm.
it's experimental, it's easy, like it's fun and it's
Ooh,
accessible.
if you want a collage, please do mini masterpieces. It's collage focus.
Absolutely. Let's go for it. And then I also love the idea of just kind of getting yourself out of your comfort zone. So if you usually do little precise drawings, like get some big blank paper and
Mm.
some giant tempera sticks or oil paint sticks. I love, like you just talked about, the giant oil pastels. Any
Mhm.
of those things would be great. Or if you usually use that kind of stuff and you don't do detail work, get like a small grid paper or lined paper and
Mm.
try and do something with fine tip markers and just kind of change up how you usually do things. I think that's always fun. That's always inspirational. And honestly, we talked last month about treating yourself. Maybe just buy yourself like some really high quality paper. I love to splurge on high quality colored pencils. Get
Mhm.
Caran Dash or just like some really really nice colored pencils, and you just start drawing with them, and like it's like drawing with butter. This is amazing, and
Yeah.
it just makes you want to keep creating. And so if you have the money to just splurge on something nice, then that can really get your creative juices flowing. So I like that idea. Our next question is from Sam in Ohio. And Sam says, I'm ready to start my first job in the fall teaching elementary art, and I'm so excited. I've listened to so many episodes of the podcast that have been so helpful. Thank you. Lots of exclamation points. I have so much advice for the classroom, but would love to know if you have any advice for outside the classroom, dealing with administrators or things to help my career, or maybe just helping my work-life balance. I don't know what's out there and don't know what I haven't thought about. What advice do you have for new teachers who are just starting their careers?
Ooh, this is such a great question. And thank you for listening. I'm going to break it down into your categories because that's how my brain works. So,
Perfect.
admin, I think my biggest suggestion for admin is if you have an issue, or I should say when you have an issue, because it's going to come up your first year of teacher,
Mhm.
something is going to go wrong. Somebody is going to be annoying you. Somebody maybe, who knows, might be taking your supplies without asking. I don't know what's going to happen. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, if you have an issue, when you go to talk about it to your principal, be solutions oriented. So come with something that you've already thought through. I think I can handle it this way. What do you think? Or I've thought through these three approaches. Do you have advice of which would be best? Because
Mhm.
then you are still getting the support you need, but you're also coming to the table showing that you've thought about it and you're not asking
Yes.
somebody to do all of the mental work for you.
Right. Right.
And that you've been reflective already. You've already
Mhm.
reflected. You've already, maybe you could even talk about what you've already tried, if anything, and then say, where else can I go from here? That goes a really long way with somebody who is trying to manage all of the teachers in the building. So
Yes.
that's my first advice. My second piece of advice is to look at observations as opportunities. So I think a lot of first year teachers get very, very stressed about observations. And
Right.
really, it's just a way to showcase what you're doing in the classroom and get feedback on what you can do better. Nobody is going to expect a first year teacher to nail their first observation.
Right.
And so your administrator is there to help you. Again, if you can be proactive about it ahead of time and say, hey, I'm really trying to work on this right now, right? In
Yes.
the lesson you're coming to see, can you watch for that and tell me how I'm doing? That's also going to
Mhm.
put you in a great position that you're already reflecting and you're already looking at it as a growth opportunity. And that's going to position you really well for the actual observation.
Yeah, that's great advice. Can I throw one in on
Yes.
while we're sitting in the admin
Yes,
category,
you can.
since we've divided it up? I would ask, your principal, whoever's observing you, whoever your admin is, what do they care about? Find
Mhm.
out, what is their vision for the school? What is their vision for your art program? And just kind of see how that aligns with what you want and what you want to do in your classroom. And if you haven't thought about big picture like that, maybe put some time into thinking about it, because if you ask your principal, like, hey, what do you want this art program to be? What do you want me to do? And they're like, I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want your program to be? Like, probably should have an answer for that. But
Mhm.
if you can sort of align your goals with what their goals are for your program or for your school, then that can be incredibly helpful when it comes to dealing with your administrator. So,
Yep.
what's our next category, Amanda?
Our next category is community.
Okay.
So, for community, I would say go to the teacher's lounge. I know that is unpopular, but as a first year teacher, get out of your room a little bit. I promise it's going to be okay. Go see who's there. You might find a destitute wasteland that you never want to go to again. That's okay. Give it a try.
Yeah, but try it.
But try
Try
it.
it.
Yeah.
And this is my advice from a huge introvert. When you're first starting, please go to the teacher's lounge.
Yes.
Like, it feels better to just sit in your room and do nothing, but long term, it's not good for you. And like you said, it may be a complete flop, but you also may find some incredibly helpful people and some incredibly wonderful people that you work with there.
Yes. And I also am an introvert. And also, I went to the teacher's lounge almost every day. It's also just good to get out of your classroom and be in a different environment.
Mhm.
And at least at my school, sometimes there were snacks, which was helpful.
Perfect.
Same vein, if there's happy hours or after school activities with coworkers, try to make those. Again, you don't need to burn yourself out. I'm not advocating for if you're already feeling overwhelmed to do extra things, but if you have capacity to go, even for a little bit, that's going to go a long way with building relationships with the people you work with, which is going to be helpful. And then, of course,
Ooh,
join the Art of Ed
can I
community.
tell?
Oh,
Sorry, can I tell a related
yeah.
story?
Yes.
So my first year after moving to the high school, there was a happy hour, and it's like, I don't really want to go. And then my wife's like, oh, you should go for a little bit, just go hang out. So I do. And I end up talking to this lady, and I didn't even know she didn't teach at my school. Okay, she was actually the wife of one of the English teachers there. But we ended up talking about music, and we had a great conversation for a long time. And then I headed out and didn't think much of it. But then the next week, her husband, the English teacher, came into my room and he's like, "Hey, my wife told me you have some really good taste in music," and like started chatting with me about a couple different things. And now, like 20 years later, we are still the best of friends. And so it can lead to some wonderful things. So, again, it's not always going to be great, but every once in a while, it can turn out really, really well. So,
Yes. I love that. I love that for you.
thank you. And so, sorry to dive in. I know you wanted to talk again about the Art of Ed community.
Yeah, I really did, but that's okay. That was worth interrupting me for. But yeah, the last point I have is join the Art of Ed community. Because then you'll have a friend in your apron pocket at all times because you can get the app.
That's a great way to
Just
think
carries
about
around
it.
in your pocket.
Well, and it's a great sounding board too. And just
Yes.
if you're having issues with something or just reading about what other people are having issues with, and join in those discussions, and it can be really helpful. And I think that's great option for you to easily be able to talk to other art teachers, which is not always an option for people, especially if you're the only one in your building. So, what other categories do we have?
Oh, the last category is work-life balance.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Maybe my
Good.
favorite category. Okay. First of all, permission to say no. It's okay to say no to things. You can say flat out no. You can say, I can do this instead. I think you'll probably say yes to something that you'll regret. That's fine. We all do it.
It's just
Ask
part of the
anybody.
deal. If I can throw in one more pitch for the Art Ed Now conference, we have a wonderful session coming about how to just sort of set boundaries for yourself this school year. And Erin Spinagle is the presenter, and she talks about starting your sentences with "I don't." Like, oh, I don't do that without this much notice. I don't do that if I don't have the supply, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You'll have to come to the conference to get all of her amazing advice, but it's a really good one. And so there's a lot of people telling you right now it is okay to say no.
Yes. In the same vein, you do not have to join every committee. That's okay.
Even if you feel like you should, or you feel like you want to change the school, like there's time to do that in the future. It doesn't all have to be done your first year.
Yes. You will probably get voluntold to do things. And again, you're going to have to navigate what you what you do and don't do
Mhm.
there. But I would say pick things that are the most impactful. Maybe you're picking things that your principal is asking, but not that every colleague is asking.
Right.
I remember one time early in my career, I had a teacher waltz in and be like, "Hey, could you start paper mache earths with your second graders tomorrow?" No, ma'am, I cannot
I'm sorry,
start
tomorrow?
tomorrow. We're starting our social studies unit tomorrow. Could you just make the world 24 times? Sorry, I can't. Um, okay, my other two more quick tips. I would say think about what big projects, if any, you do want to do this school year, and then backwards plan those projects and break them into
Yeah,
manageable steps so you can try to avoid bringing work home. So, if your goal is to do an art show, which, spoiler alert, I don't think you need to do in your first year, but if you really want to, think about what you actually need to do there so that you're not doing all of it in March. We are trying to avoid 80-hour work weeks, okay?
yes,
And then my last tip is just give yourself a lot of grace. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to do a lot of things differently than your first year. And it's okay to mess up and it's okay to fail. And don't ruminate on those things. Don't bring that home with you. You can just leave it at school.
absolutely. Yeah, all great advice, and yeah, you change so much after your first year. Just treat it as a learning experience, and like you said, give yourself a lot of grace. Just two other things that I want to add: those 80-hour work weeks that you just mentioned. Don't do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
your work is not going to be done, and that's okay. Like you just need to accept that there's always going to be more to do. I think it's more important to have a cutoff time. Like I'm done at 4 o'clock, going home at 4 o'clock. Like protect your personal time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with the work-life balance. Do your best to not bring work home. And then I was also just thinking about stuff that people did not tell me when I first started teaching. And for me, it was to get your master's degree quickly. Now, I know that's not a goal for everybody, but if that is one of your goals, if you want to get a master's, do it soon because almost every district will pay you more for having a master's
Mm-hmm.
degree. And if you can start making that money 2 or 3 years into your career rather than 8 or 9 or 10 years into your career,
Yeah.
like over the course of time, you end up making so much more money. So that sort of falls into the not sure what I'm not thinking about category that Sam
Yeah.
mentioned, but I think that is advice I wish I would have had when I first started.
Yes.
Right. Our next question is from Kelsey in Georgia. Kelsey says, every summer I tell myself I'm going to build up a whole new unit, but by August I've barely started. Looks like I'm headed that way again this summer. LOL. Okay. How do you actually make progress on big curriculum projects over the summer when your brain just wants to decompress? Now, Kelsey, I would like to start out with this one. I would like to ask you, do you really have to do? Like, do you really need a big curriculum project over the summer? I think that's where we start. Like,
Mm-hmm.
figure that out. That being said, having goals is good. We appreciate the initiative. I would say if your district is not paying you to write big curriculum projects,
Yes.
maybe don't need to write big curriculum projects over the summer.
Yes.
That being said, if you want to ignore our advice and just continue to write and come up with curriculum things, we're going to talk about the best ways to do that. So, Amanda, what would you say for Kelsey if she does want to follow through with this?
Okay. So I would say you need to treat it like any other task and put it on your schedule. Pencil it into your calendar, write it in Sharpie. On these 2 days, I am going to do this curriculum project. And that is probably how I would do it. I would take 2 days rather than an hour a day over the course of a few weeks.
Mhm.
This is a project that requires deep thinking, deep work. You really need to dig in. You're going to be wrestling with things, that takes time. So I would block off a chunk of time in your schedule and then maybe plan a little reward for yourself
Of
afterwards.
course,
A
of
little
course.
external motivation, extrinsic motivation. Okay, I would also go somewhere else to work on it. If you can get into school, maybe you go there. If you're going to get distracted there, maybe you go to a coffee shop. Maybe you rent a study room at the library, whatever. Go
Mhm.
somewhere where you're not going to be distracted to do other things. But like your first point, Tim, I don't know that I would do this over the summer. Again, my district did pay us to write curriculum and do curriculum work. It was really nice because it was the week directly after school. So you didn't have to get into summer mode and then get back out of summer
Right.
mode. You just
Right.
continued, okay, I'm going to do Curriculum Academy or whatever it was called, and get extra money for that. So again, if your school's not paying you to do that, I might try to build it into a slower time in the school year versus in the summer, even if you're taking a weekend. Like, even if it is not during the school day, which we hope and wish it could be, maybe it's you take 2 Saturdays in a row or something so
Yeah.
that you're not trying to do it in the summer when your brain does just want to disengage, and
Yeah.
rightfully so.
Yeah, I think it needs to decompress. And I don't know, I just always looked at it as like summer is a time for collecting ideas, and the fall is a time for actually building those, putting
Mhm.
those into practice. So, I'm not a Pinterest person, but this is the time to use Pinterest. Like, collect those images, collect those inspiration, write down your ideas, those sorts of things. Just kind of figure out, oh, this would be a cool idea. Let me come back to that in September. Or, this would be a great project. I'll look at that once the school year starts. And so you're not necessarily starting with a blank slate, and you can maybe start getting some ideas marinating, but I
Mhm.
don't think you need to dive into everything right now.
Yeah. I would also think about, I always say I'm going to build a whole new unit. Is is that because you think you should or because you have to? If you have a really good why, such as if I build this new unit, my kids will learn XYZ. My kids have been talking about whatever, and I think I could do something really cool to feed that need. Maybe you also need a stronger why. And if you don't have it, again, back to the first point, maybe you don't need to do it. If you decide you do, you could also work with a friend or a colleague as an accountability partner, find someone else who's working on their curriculum, or another art teacher who maybe wants to co-plan with you and you're doing a similar thing at both of your schools. I could see that being an idea that might
Yeah,
work.
I thought about that, and going back to your extrinsic motivation idea, use that as an excuse to get together, like spend an hour at the coffee shop or go out to
Mhm.
brunch and talk over brunch about this lesson, this unit, whatever you want to plan, and just kind of use that an excuse to do a little bit of work, but really just get together with your friends and maybe hold each other accountable, maybe just hang out for a little bit, whatever is going to work for you. Amanda, I'm gonna guess though that you have some resources that you want to share for people who do want to do things like this.
Yeah. So, other than use it as an excuse to eat the best meal of the day, which is a good idea. If you really want to dig in and you are having trouble figuring out where to get started, we do have so many things at AOU to help you. So at AOU, we have Designing Your Art Curriculum. That is a graduate level course. If you want someone to tell you exactly what to do and make you write it, come to AOU. But then AOE has a lot of other resources in terms of flex curriculum and pro learning. So if you have flex curriculum and it's purchased by your district, you have access to pre-built curriculums already. So maybe you're already done. I don't know what your situation is. But just tons of resources there to help you build whatever kind of unit you can dream up. Also, different units already pre-made. So take a look at that if you have access. And then if you have pro learning, there are 2 really great pro packs I would point you to. One is Bringing New Life to Old Lessons. I like this one because it's not specifically about curriculum planning, it's more at the lesson level, but it challenges you to think about things in a new way, which is exciting. And then the other one we have is called Designing Art Curriculum Units, which is straight into the point and something that could also help you get started.
Yeah, both of those pro packs are excellent. And I've talked before about my experience taking the Designing Your Art curriculum course, and I loved it. I did it in the fall, mind you,
Mhm.
just to go back to that point. But whenever you take it, it is a great opportunity for you to think deeply about your curriculum, find new resources, and put together new units that are very, very well put together and just ready to go into your classroom immediately. And so if that's something, Kelsey, that like might work for you, I would highly recommend that course. It's a great experience. Our next question is from Will in Wisconsin. Do you think Will would know the cheese curd license
I was
plate?
just going to say, do you think
Question.
Will was in the cheese curd
If
car?
Will has the cheese curd license.
Will, if you hear this, please write and let us know.
I think anybody who skips story time is right now going, what are these guys talking about? Okay, but Will says, every year I send my students home with a summer sketchbook challenge, and every year maybe 3 kids actually do it. I've been there. Is something like that even worth assigning? And how do you keep students connected to art when they're away from school? Well,
Okay. I think I have a hot take.
I'm ready. I'm ready. We
I
we have a hot take episode coming in a couple weeks.
I know, I'm just warming
This
up.
can be like the appetizer. So go ahead.
I mean, I think what kids do over the summer is their own business. What I
Mm.
Would I love for them to work on art? Yes. Is it worth my mental energy to worry about whether or not they're working on art? Nope. Summer is for taking a break. And that means physically a break from your classroom and teaching, but also a mental break from worrying about 400 other people. So I don't think it's actually your job to keep students connected to art when they're away from school. I think you can do what you can during the school year. I think you can instill that love of creating and building a sketchbook practice and all of these habits. But whether or not they continue that is out of your hands when they leave your classroom at the end of the school year.
That's a
So
very good take, Amanda.
thank you so much. If a summer sketchbook challenge is fun for you to put together, great. If that's like a fun exercise for your brain, wonderful. If it feels like extra work and 3 kids are doing it, then like full permission to stop worrying about it.
Yeah, I will also give you full permission to stop worrying about this. I 100% used to stress about this exact same thing. Like, 15 years ago, this could have been me writing in
Mhm.
this question. And one summer, kids came back, and it was just kind of an epiphany for me because I had one girl who came in with this giant painting. It was like 36 by 48 of like a fruit stand from a farmer's market. Gorgeous painting. And that was one thing that I assigned to them was
Uh-huh.
like go to the farmer's market and sketch and draw. And she turned it into this giant painting, beautiful piece. And she's like, well, I didn't really know what to do this summer. So that assignment was really helpful to me.
Mhm.
And that was great. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, this girl came in with a sketchbook. She had filled her sketchbook over the summer. And I was like, this is amazing. And I was sort of looking through for any of the assignments. And she was like, I thought your list of prompts was really dumb. So I just did my own thing. And like, that was fine too. And, I just realized like, oh, yeah, you just kind of meet the kids where they are. And so if you enjoy putting it together, do that. I always enjoyed coming up with assignments, and it was helpful for a couple kids. So
Mhm.
that was worth it for me. And I realize though that most kids are, not worried about that over the summer. And like you said, Amanda, that's okay too. So I would say, well, it's worth offering. It's worth putting together if you enjoy doing it, but it's maybe not necessarily worth assigning it
Yeah.
if you notice a difference there. Like put it together for your kids, make it optional, but don't make them do it.
Right. And just because they're not doing your summer sketchbook challenge, to your point, does not mean they're not being creative or they're not making art. They might be doing crafting or baking or traveling or art appreciation, right? Or other creative things.
Yes.
And
And
those
we
are all
talk
great
about
too.
that all the time on the podcast is appreciating those small acts of creativity, those little
Mhm.
those daily things that we do. And so we need to appreciate that when our students are doing those things as well.
Yep.
Right, Amanda. Our final question is from Priya in California. And she says, I've been following a lot of artists on social media this summer, and it's actually making me feel worse about my own work, like I'm comparing myself constantly. I get a lot of inspiration from both artists and teachers and other places, but so many times I feel worse after scrolling. I know the answer to this, but I want to hear someone else talk about it. Do you think social media is ultimately good or bad for art teachers?
Okay. My answer is yes. Yes. Yes, it is good. Yes, it is bad. Is that helpful? I don't know. Okay, here's my tip. Here's how I like to think about this. So I have two Instagram accounts. One is private and it's personal, right? I follow my actual friends, I follow the news, I follow personal influencers I enjoy, etc. The other one is my work account, and that's where I follow art teachers and artists and educators. And for me, that's the distinction I need. I need a personal mode and a work mode. So when I want to be in work mode, I can go to my work account and I can, try to discover new art teachers or new ideas or get inspired or whatever. But when I don't want my work life and my personal life to cross, I can still explore social media on my other account. So you may want to create a separate account where you just follow art teachers, right? And I don't know, go and heart all the things so your algorithm gets trained to show you what you want it to show you. And then you can dip into it when you're specifically looking for that inspiration, but you aren't being served a barrage of those kinds of posts when you're not in the mood for them.
Yeah, that is honestly, that's perfect advice. As you know, I'm not huge on Instagram, so I don't know that I will have the best advice, but I would just say, ask yourself what you're looking for when you open up the app. Like, are you looking for inspiration on that day? Are you looking for some kind of connection or some validation that what you're doing is good? Or do you just need a distraction? Are you looking to mindlessly scroll for a while? Just being clear about that goal, I think, is going to help you frame what you're seeing and sort of reflect a little bit on what you're seeing rather than just consuming it. And if you're thinking or reflecting on it, that's going to make it easier to step away when you're not getting what you want or you're not feeling how you want to feel. It
Mm-hmm.
helps your brain say, this is not doing it for me today.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it easier to put that away and go do something else. Go for a walk, make some cookies, do a drawing, whatever else you may want to do. But just being able to, I guess, recognize that feeling and name that feeling, and then being able to put that away before you start to feel too bad about it, and just reflecting more on what you're trying to get out of it, and what your goals are when you're opening up that app, I think can go a long way to getting your social media feed to do what you want it to do for you.
Yeah. One more quick plug for the community. It's just nobody is being performative there. You
Very
can't
true.
you can follow people, but not really. Nobody is there to make a name for themselves, and so it's much less curated. It's much less polished because people are really there looking for connection and advice and support. And so it's a much different vibe. It is, I suppose you could call it social media, but it's only the good parts of social media. So if you are looking for project ideas or inspiration or whatever, come to the community and ask those questions or flip through a few things. It's not the same feeling of everybody is trying to gain clout. And so
Right.
therefore they're putting out a very specific type of post. It's much more real and authentic in the community.
Yeah, I
So
was just gonna say, authenticity is what is the word that comes to mind. Like, it's real talk, it's real experiences, it's people sharing what is happening in their classroom, like the real things that are
yes,
happening in their
yes,
classrooms, not the best things that are
yes,
happening in their
exactly.
classrooms.
Yep.
And there's plenty to celebrate, there's plenty to inspire you, but it doesn't leave you with the feeling of, oh, I can't compare to this, or my work is not as good as this. And so
Mhm.
I think just that authenticity can be really helpful for avoiding those sorts of feelings,
Yeah.
of feeling worse when you're put your phone down. Good call, Amanda. I appreciate that. All right. Thank you again to everybody for writing in and leaving us with such amazing questions. And Amanda, thank you for all of your advice and wisdom and sharing everything with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me. See you all next month.
That will do it for our July mailbag. A huge thank you to everybody who wrote in with questions. As we said, we loved answering those. Great set of questions. Really, really thoughtful this month. So thank you for those. And of course, thank you to Amanda for joining me as always. So much great advice and insight from her. And we were able to cover a lot of ground today. Finding art supplies that might actually spark your creativity, and how to navigate your first year of teaching, making the most out of summer, and maybe or maybe not jumping into those curriculum projects, dealing with sketchbooks, and I think importantly, in finding a healthier relationship with social media. So I hope there was something in there that resonated with you, wherever you are with your teaching journey, however you're feeling this summer. Now, if you want to dig deeper into anything we talked about today, great resources linked in the show notes. For new teachers, check out the First Year Art Teacher's Guide at the Art of Education. A fantastic starting point. And we also link to a couple ideas for you to spark some creativity this summer. Also, make sure you check out the Mini Masterpieces Challenge. It's going on Instagram. Just find the Art of Ed over on Instagram. See what everybody's doing. And if you're not already part of the Art of Ed community, head over to the community.artofeducation.edu to join for free. Almost 10,000 art teachers already there. It is a wonderful place to connect, get inspired, and ask the kind of questions that we talked about today. And then finally, before we go, one more shout out for the Art Ed Now conference coming up July 31st, August 1st, and August 2nd. Incredible lineup this year, including the keynote from illustrator Oliver Jeffers. He is the one who illustrated The Day the Crayons Quit, plus a myriad of other books. But we'll also have sessions on art making, setting boundaries, curriculum, so much more. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to do that. We would absolutely love to see you there. Head over to theartofeducation.edu/now for all the details and grab your spot. As always, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week. We are so glad you joined us for today's episode, and we hope it was helpful for you. If you know someone else who might be helped with the information in this show, we would love for you to share it with them. We also appreciate all the ratings and reviews that listeners leave for us, so if you have a few seconds to give us a 5-star rating or even leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen, we would love to see it. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next week.